Welcome to another episode. In today's episode, we'll be seeing about pain. Pain is both physical and mental. We'll see both of them in our episode and some spiritual solutions to it or awareness about that. First, we will see the biological aspect of it. Brain is not a passive recipient of information entering from the periphery or the dorsal horn, but actively processes and selects information, seeks information, selects information, and interprets information. Psychological interventions for pain may have grown in prominence and continue to demonstrate efficacy of a larger part because these treatments target the organ that is responsible of pain and how a patient copes and adapts with the pain. This is by Mark P.J. and Dennis C.T. What is pain? Pain is highly unpleasant physical sensation caused by illness or injury, mental suffering or distress. Essentially, pain is the way brain interprets information about a particular sensation that the body is experiencing. Information or signals about this painful sensation are sent via nerve pathways to the brain. The way in which the brain interprets these signals, pain can be affected by many outside factors. Pain can be affected by many outside factors, some of which can be controlled by special techniques. There are things that you can do to reduce the effects of pain on your life, such as appropriate exercise, pacing your activity, not doing too much when you feel better, and relaxation. Pain signals are initially processed in the spinal cord and then in the brain, where there are connections with centers associated with anxiety, emotions, sleep, appetite, and memory. Brain sends signal back to the spinal cord, which can in turn either reduce or increase the pain further. Cells at the nerve endings in the spinal cord and in the brain can become oversensitized as a result of constant pain input. This is called wind-up, and why persistent pain does not go away easily, even if the cause of the pain is discovered and treated. The psychological view by H. Mersky. There is much to suggest that pain is often a sign of psychological disturbance. This is particularly true if headache is included in the discussion. Emotional factors could abate the severity of pain or abolish it together, despite the presence of extensive wounds. That anxiety gives rise to local muscle contraction, which, if persistent, causes pain. The most striking illustration of pain as a symptom involving solving unconscious conflicts or serving to symbolize unconscious attitudes is Kuwait syndrome. This is called Kuwait syndrome. This word, derived from Basque kuwair, meaning to sit on eggs, describes the behavior of fathers who may act as if suffering from labor pains or lie in bed after their wife's childbirth while the women continue with their normal occupations. Such behavior occurs in many cultures. It has been indicated that certain attitudes, frequently unconscious, has been attributed to patients with pain of psychological origin. These attitudes include hostility, resentment, and guilt. A history of appendectomy has been reported as occurring frequently in patients with abdominal pain in association with neurotic illness. Pain arises when a threat to body is perceived, either for objective reasons or for emotional ones. Pain is used as a communication which requests help. This function is always involved in any complaint of pain. Then we will see what Mark P. Jensen and Dennis C. Tuck say. Pain behaviors are no different from any other behavior with respect to their sensitivity to environmental influences. Pain behaviors followed by reinforcing events such as affection or sanctions, time out from social responsibilities will increase in frequency. However, if pain behaviors are systematically ignored and behaviors incompatible with them, so-called well behaviors such as exercise and maintaining an active lifestyle, including employment, are encouraged or positively reinforced, then over time, these well behaviors will increase and pain behaviors will decrease. This is by 4 dice. Once healing has occurred, pain behavior often become maladaptive. They can contribute to disability. Example, ongoing resting or guarding behaviors cause muscle atrophy and maintain pain. This is by 4 dice. Motivational interviewing targets. Change talk, that is hypothesized to increase the probability of use of coping responses thought to be adaptive and to decrease the possibility of use of coping responses thought to be maladaptive. Overall objective of helping patients change their view of themselves from one in which they are helpless, passive and dependent to one in which they are active agents, who are resourceful and capable of self-managing their symptoms and their lives. This is by Florenta. Any treatments that alter pain-related thoughts, which include virtually all psychological pain interventions, could be beneficial at least in part because they alter activity and process in the prefrontal cortex. Because the prefrontal cortex is actively involved in the processing of nociceptive information that may subsequently be interpreted as pain, changes in activity in this area could potentially increase or decrease the experience of and response to pain. Recent studies using fMRI have been able to document unique psychological responses in the brain that are associated with prolonged pain. Emotional responses accompanying the pain. Primary psychological factors, specifically what patients think, that is cognitive content, and B, how patients think, cognitive process or cognitive coping, and what patients do, behavioral coping. Then we will see about this by Jensen. Then we will see acute pain, or called ANEZCA. The ability of somatosensory system to detect noxious and potential tissue damaging stimuli is an important protective mechanism that involves multiple interacting peripheral and central mechanisms. The neural process underlying the encoding and processing of noxious stimuli are defined as nociception. In addition to these sensory effects, the perception and subjective experience of pain is multifactorial and will be influenced by psychological and environmental factors in every individual. This is by Loiser and Treading. Empirical evidence supports the role for fear of pain contributing to the development of avoidance responses following pain and injury, which ultimately lead to the disability in many people with persisting pain. Liu et al. After limb amputation, reorganization or remapping of the somatosensory cortex and other cortical structures may be a contributory mechanism in the development of phantom limb. This is by Flore and Grosser and others. The spiritual side of this pain we will see now. First is from Shinzen Young. Mindfulness meditation is a way of focusing awareness on the pain and observing the with precision while at the same time opening it up to it and dropping resistance. As we develop this skill, the pain causes less suffering and may even break up into a flow of pure energy. Most people equate the suffering with pain, but suffering is a function of two variables, not just one. Suffering is a function of pain and the degree to which the pain is being resisted. S is equal to P into R. This is pain into resistance. Opening up to the pain is the practice of dropping the conscious resistance by letting go of the judging thoughts and continuously relaxing whole body as much as possible. Although the suffering diminishes as the resistance drops, the pain may stay, preserving the proper function of pain as a warning, motivation, etc. In other words, it is sometimes necessary to feel pain, but it is never necessary to suffer. Then we will see what J.Krishnamurti talks about pain. Now, if you have pain and the speaker had part of that, like every human being, do you allow it to end? Or do you want to end it with some medicine? You are following my question? Say you sit in the dentist's chair. The speaker has done quite a bit of it. You sit in the dentist's chair, he drills. Do you associate pain and identify yourself with pain? Of course. If the pain is too intense, he gives you some kind of Novocaine or whatever he gives you. But if it is not too unbearable, do you observe the pain without identifying yourself and say, my God? You follow what I am saying? Which do you do? Is it immediate identification with pain or dissociation? And observing. When you have pain, you instinctively hold. If you are sitting on that chair, but if you don't identify with pain, you can put your hands out quietly and bear it without too much, which means it is possible to dissociate oneself from the actual moment of pain. Enquire into it, don't say it is not. You will find out yourself how much, how far, how deeply one cannot identify. I am in great pain, you follow? If you had a pain yesterday, physical pain, to finish with that pain yesterday, not carrying it over to today, into tomorrow. Then we will see the verse 79 of fruit gathering. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers, but to be fearless in facing them. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain, but for the heart to conquer it. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefield, but my own strength. Let me not crave in anxious fear to be saved, but hope for the patient to win my freedom. Grant me what I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone. But let me find the grasp of your hand in my failure. This is by Rabindranath Tagore. The Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace. Taking as he did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, that I may become reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next moment. This is by Reinhold Niebuhr. So with this we will end this episode. Stay with me for another episode. We must have learned a lot about pain today and how to alleviate the pain. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you.